So, Sarmad, start with your introduction. Tell me what life has been about.
Sure. So, Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Sandilo. I am a GTM and RevOps consultant. Am I audible to everybody? Yeah? Okay. Is it better now? Yeah. So, Sarmad Sandilo, I am a GTM and RevOps consultant, founder Sales Unicorn. We partner up with B2B tech companies in US market and we build go-to-market systems for them. The outcome is building scalable and predictable pipelines for them. If I make it easy for you to understand, is I bring customers to B2B tech founders, just like you guys. So if you're a B2B tech founder, feel free to chat and would love to add value into your startup.
So, Sarmad, just to break it down, GTM. Describe GTM on first principles lens.
So GTM is short form of go-to-market. What is go-to-market? It's the distribution channel. So all the founders here, they're building a product, but most of the times they don't have the distribution channel figured out. They don't know who is the end customer of their product and how they're going to approach them. And for the very start, how to actually find out those people who are the end consumers of their product. So go-to-market is it's a tool that you would use ideally to find out the total addressable market of your product. And then you use that tool to find out the actual companies who are going to utilize your product, right? And then the final step is to research those companies and find out the exact ICP, which is the ideal customer profile. And then you create the messaging and prospect them. So it's a whole system, it's the whole pipeline that allows you to distribute your product from production into the market.
Amazing. So, tell me a bit more about Clay.
So Clay is basically a data orchestration tool. I am Clay Club lead in Pakistan. They are a $1 billion company. I don't work there, by the way, guys. That's why I said they. I'm a Clay Club lead. That's totally a non-monetary kind of a commitment that I have with them. We are a community of 300 plus GTM engineers across Pakistan, 100 plus from Karachi. And Clay, what it is, essentially, it's a data orchestration tool. So for example, you're in sales, you're building these Google Sheets with all the leads that you can sell to, right? And then there are some data providers, you get data from them, and then there are some AI agents, like ChatGPT has 4o Mini and 4o and all those LLMs. You use those to research your accounts, your list of leads, right? Think of a Google Sheet that can talk to all those data providers as well as allow you the power of agentic AI and then allows you to connect from any app and send data to any other app. That's the platform. That's what Clay is. So how can you implement that in your GTM systems is, I give you just a very simple example. I don't know what the ICP is, like how technical are the people. But I would say कि आप एक product बेच रहे हो जो कि food manufacturing companies को एक का tool है वो they can utilize that in their systems. तो with Clay you can get a list of all the food manufacturers in Pakistan for free. So they have this feature called Find Companies. You bring all that data in your Clay table, they call it table, which is basically a Google Sheet. And then you can enrich that data with the people. So who are the decision makers? The CTOs, the product managers, where your product, who is gonna make the decision on purchasing your product, adopting your product, right? So you find out those job titles in those companies, and then you use another data provider, that provides the email addresses of those job titles. So for example, Amin is the ICP. I enrich him and I find the Amin's email address. Then I use another data provider to validate that email, right? And then I use agentic AI. I use ChatGPT's 4.0 mini model or Claude's 3.7 Sonnet model to create a messaging based on all the data points and then send that to you on automation. I will build this whole workflow in Clay, and then every time I need more clients, I will just press this button to run this workflow, and it will start sending out messaging to all the lists that comes into Clay, right? And you start getting leads, responses. So for example, इसकी बहुत basic example ऐसी है कि मैं food manufacturing को एक tool बेच रहा हूँ, मैंने 100 companies निकाल ली Clay के through, जो कि food manufacturers हैं, फिर हर कंपनी के अंदर मैंने 10 prospects निकाल लिए जो decision makers हैं, फिर उन सब, अब मेरे पास 1000 लोग हो गए, 1000 में से I enrich the emails, I get around 800-900 emails, मैंने उनको verify किया, I get a 700 emails verified. Now I know 700 people exactly who are going to buy my product. Next step I do is उन 700 लोगों की मैं further research करूँगा कि how active they are on LinkedIn. What did you post about in past week? I'll get that data into Clay and then create a messaging कि hey Amin, you talked about improving ABC, what the problem is you are solving in food manufacturing companies. This is the tool that we have created and we have worked with XYZ companies. Let's talk. And then you would respond, hey Sarmad, let's talk. Why? Because I know your title, I know how experienced you are, what you posted about on LinkedIn, what your buying intent is at that point. So that's what Clay is, that's what the whole ecosystem is. Yeah.
So, just for the audience, I'm sure they know it, but it'll be worth spending some time. So go to market. It happens in startups and then it happens in existing businesses as well, right?
Yep.
Can you share a couple of examples that in what way a startup would deploy the go-to-market strategy and then an established business who would deploy go-to-market?
Of course. So can I ask the audience, how many of you are, please, you want to ask a question? No, I just want to ask a question in general. Raise your hand if you're a startup. Okay. Raise your hand if you're an established company. You are. And also, all of you guys, raise your hand if you are a B2B company. No matter startup or established company. B2B. 4. Okay. So I'll try to answer in that way. So rest of them are B2C. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. देखें, what is go-to-market? Go-to-market is actually going to the market and identify कि कौन purchase कर सकता है आपसे और कौन नहीं कर सकता. It's the tooling, it's the strategy. ठीक है? Startup would go to market to identify कि मेरा product market fit है या नहीं, market में बिकेगा या नहीं. मैंने जो tool बनाया है, I'm not married to my tool. I'll tap with the market. मैं टोटल एड्रेसेबल मार्केट जो मैं समझता हूँ कि जो ख़रीद सकते हैं उनको मैं लिस्ट बनाऊँगा, उनको मैसेजिंग सेंड करूँगा कि दिस इज़ योर प्रॉब्लम, दिस इज़ योर पेन पॉइंट, दिस इज़ द सोल्यूशन आई एम सॉल्विंग. एंड देन यू गेट ऑन अ कॉल विद मी एंड यू गिव मी द आइडियाज. नो समझ, योर प्रोडक्ट इज़ नॉट सॉल्विंग माई प्रॉब्लम इज़ दिस. एंड देन यू चेंज योर प्रोडक्ट. सो यू द आइटरेटिव प्रोसेस दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट बिफोर इज़ के आप यू गो टू द स्टार्टअप वुड गो इन टू द मार्केट टू make the product market fit, plus iterate on the new features and the new things that you are going to roll out in your product, right? An established company would go into the market just to get more customers. I consult B2B companies in US that are Series A to C startups who have raised from 10 to 15 million dollars in fundings. They already have existing customers. So what I do is I get all the sales transcripts, I get all the demo calls they do from them, I get access to their CRMs, what they are talking about to their customers who became customers, what were their pain points. I double down on that, find out the lookalike companies and start messaging them. So there are two different use cases of go-to-market. For startups, is essentially to make your product perfect and make it product market fit. And for the established companies is to get more clients.
And if your solution or if your expertise aren't present, what kind of problems startups or established companies would face?
Come again? I
So,
didn't get.
so you are, whether it's Clay or whether with the, the consultancy that you do and work with the businesses,
Yeah.
अगर वो solution नहीं होता या नहीं है तो किस किस्म की वेस्टेज होती है, कितना टाइम ज़ाया होता है, कौन सी चीज़ें ऐसी हैं जो कि फाइनेंशियली मॉनेटरी टर्म्स में भी और टाइम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी मैटर करती हैं और इसकी इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है?
Awesome. That's a really good question, by the way. This whole pivot of AI automation began 2 to 3 years back in GTM specifically. Still there are, I would say 90% of the companies, they haven't adopted AI and automation in their go-to market. They have adopted that in other aspects, but they haven't adopted it in go-to market. होता क्या है, जिस मार्केट में मैं काम करता हूँ, ऑलमोस्ट सब लोग उन्हीं को ही कॉपी करते हैं. तो आई टॉक अबाउट यूएस मार्केट. यूएस मार्केट में क्या होता है कि दे हैव फ्लोर्स ऑफ BDRs एंड SDRs, बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स, सेल्स डेवलपमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स, एंड दे हैव अकाउंट एग्जीक्यूटिव्स. सो पहले क्या होता था कि एक SDR हायर होता था $100,000 पर एनम की सैलरी पे, और वो बैठता था कंप्यूटर पे और वो जाता था मैन्युअली एक गूगल शीट पे लिस्ट बनाता था 100 कंपनीज़ की डेली, उनको रिसर्च करता था कि उन्होंने कौन सी नई प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च की है, कौन सी केस स्टडी उनकी आई रिसेंटली, किस कस्टमर बेस को वो बेचते हैं. फिर वो आइडेंटिफाई करता था कि जॉब टाइटल्स कौन से हैं जो मेरी प्रोडक्ट परचेज कर सकें. मैनुअली जाता था लिंक्डइन पे, सबको कॉपी पेस्ट करता था, राइट. एक दिन में मैक्सिमम 20 से 30 लोगों को वो ईमेल भेज पाता था. Now with the systems that we are creating, we are able to send millions of prospects or messaging on automation, but that's hyper-personalized. So the outreach even happens. I'll give you an example. मैं रियल एस्टेट एजेंट्स को वेबसाइट्स भेजता हूँ, ठीक है. जिस वक्त कोई रियल एस्टेट एजेंट घर भेजता है ना यूएस के अंदर, मुझे पता चल जाता है कि इसने घर भेजा है. द सेम डे बल्कि सेम मिनट, my automation goes, fetches his email, verifies it, finds out कि कौन सा घर बेचा है, street address किस price पे बेचा है, and I send him the email कि hey, I saw that you sold this ABC street house for XYZ price, but you don't have a website, let's talk. You see, so the moment the trigger is happening, that's the point you get to your ideal customer profile, right? So the question you asked, पहले ये होता था कि एक SDR 50 लोगों को सेंड कर रहा है, अभी मैं एक बटन दबाता हूँ, मैं हज़ारों लोगों को एक मिनट में ईमेल्स भेज देता हूँ. तो दैट्स द स्केल. $100,000 पर SDR की सैलरी है, वहाँ पे 10 SDRs. वी हैव वर्क विद कंपनीज हु रिप्लेस देयर होल SDR टीम्स विद आवर एजेंसी, राइट. So yeah, that's the scale. Efficiency has improved.
I think the key word here, what you just shared, is hyper-personalized outreach. Even जब मैनुअली भी आप ये चीज़ें कर रहे होते हैं तो you are either copying and pasting and then you are adding a lot of hours to even if you want to make it personalized. Now all that time is given back to you now to do things what really matters. और दूसरा ये है कि time to market also matters. तो first movers advantage, तो स्टार्टअप्स के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से रियल टाइम डेटा, उसको कैसे आप पिवट यानी कि डेटा को यूज़ करते हुए आप कैसे आप अपने पिवट्स को ड्राइव करते हो, अपनी आइट्रेशंस को ड्राइव करते हो. सो बीन एबल टू हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ सोल्यूशन इट्स वंडरफुल. कितना टाइम लगेगा एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनीज को अडाप्ट करने में, और इस चीज़ को स्टार्टअप के लैंडस्केप से यानी कि स्टार्टअप फाउंडर के लेंस से अडाप्ट करने में कैसे नज़र आता है आपको?
राइट. सो अगेन it depends. Basically, Pakistani market is always slow adapter, right? Let's talk about the US market. We sell into mid-market, Series A to C, and then we also sell to enterprises. Okay? And I would say just 5% at most has adopted it right now. 2 साल की बात कर रहा हूँ, last 2 years में. Still there is 90 to 95% market in US that hasn't adopted it, और उनके पास hundreds of SDRs मौजूद हैं, वो काम करते हैं उनके लिए, right? So adoption is slow there as well. the way and the speed at AI and agentic AI is moving, that's crazy. जो काम मैं कंपनीज को ऑटोमेशन इंप्लीमेंट करके दे रहा हूँ, मैं वो काम भी ऑटोमेट कर चुका हूँ ऑलरेडी. You see, I'm talking about myself. My company has already automated the whole system that would automate the workflow and the pipelines of those companies, my customer. But still there's 90% market that doesn't know what is AI or what's agentic AI in GTM, by the way. Right? So adoption is really slow. I don't have an exact answer for that, but I see a lot of gap in there.
So generally change is, human beings resist change, as we were saying earlier on. I asked you that question when we were sitting down there. How did you get into this?
How did I get into this? So basically I run a digital transformation agency where we help real estate agents, teams and brokerages in US market to transform their digital presence. The boring work everybody does. But I realized that all of my customers were inbound. सारे customers हमारे पास आते थे, हमारे लिए ये काम कर दो. I wasn't going into the market to get more clients, right? So that's how I started approaching realtors कि यार अब हमारे साथ काम करो. But then I realized कि अगर मैं काम manually करूँगा, तो it will take years for me to tap my whole market. So I started automating stuff. And then I came across Clay. Clay is again the data orchestration tool. So basically, there is something that I want to create awareness about in the Pakistani market. I'm here, so why not? GTM engineering. Everybody, I recommend you guys, if you're a founder, if you're whoever you are, just go and Google GTM engineering. In last 2 years, Clay has revolutionized how GTM operations used to be. A GTM engineer is a software engineer who knows ecosystem like Clay, N8N, Make, Apify, Airtable, Google Sheets. These are all the applications that that a GTM engineer uses. और इन सब को use करके going from point A to point B. I explained the workflow कि जैसे कोई US में घर सेल करता है तो मुझे पता चल जाता है and then I outreach them कैसे होता है ये सारा कुछ. ये एक टूल काम नहीं करता, ये 4-5 टूल्स मिलके काम करते हैं, बट वो ऑटोनॉमस काम करते हैं. मुझे उसको फर्स्ट टाइम सेटअप करा था मैंने, राइट? सो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज कि द गाय हु डज दिस ऑटोमेशन इज कॉल्ड अ GTM इंजीनियर, और उसकी सैलरी स्टार्ट फ्रॉम $150,000 पर एनम एंड गो टू अप टू $500,000 पर एनम. तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि यू बिकम अ B2B फाउंडर एंड यू स्टार्ट मेकिंग मनी. यू कैन explore this stuff and get into this and start making ton of money out of this, right? Or you can also build a B2B product in GTM, right? Which is like, by the way, really hard because the adoption again. Yeah.
Yes, and I think such a wonderful way to put like solution engineering per se, right? अभी जो थोड़ी देर पहले हम बात कर रहे थे कि स्टैनफोर्ड का ग्रेजुएट जो है वो कोडिंग सीख रहा है टू बिल्ड अ स्टार्टअप, और अ जर्मन इंडस्ट्रियल इंजीनियर और इंजीनियर एट लार्ज इज सॉल्विंग एन इंडस्ट्रियल प्रॉब्लम, राइट? अब इस किस्म के माइक्रो सॉर्ट ऑफ क्रेडेंशियल्स, आई वुड लुक एट GTM as something which is once again a new job role or a new sort of like way of looking at things, जो कि without AI possible नहीं हो पाता for one person to actually bring all of it together and then put it to the market, right? तो यही चीज़ जो AI को हम कैसे leverage करेंगे, the roles and how the industry is sort of operating will work. क्यों कह रहा हूँ मैं ये? और the point that I'm trying to create here is कि one of the biggest cost centers that we have generally in businesses is business development and sales, right? अगर 100,000 पर एनम पे अगर आपके पास जो है वो 10 लोग भी काम कर रहे हैं, तो आपकी क्या उसमें जो है वो कैपेसिटी है ना टू रीच आउट, एंड फिर ह्यूमन गेट्स इन द वे एंड सो मेनी अदर बिट्स एंड पीसेस. Leveraging AI the way, in GTM per se, you're saving many man hours.
Yeah.
You're saving a lot of dollars, which is ultimately affecting your bottom line as well, right? In a positive way. if you are going to do this for a company as a career, or if you understand that, what you are basically doing is you're saving them money. So of course it's going to be highly paid, lucrative job, right? Or lucrative task that needs to happen. Understanding the economic machine, that's how important it is for us to understand that why we need to move from consumer nation or service providing nation to solution driven and product building nation, right? And you're playing that part, you know.
Yeah.
Did I get it right? Do you think?
100%, yeah. So I would say instead of, even if you're a service provider, I'm a service provider, I sell my service value-based outcome, not the number of hours I'm inputting. So I'll give you an example. I work with a company, it's a mid-market company. I guess their annual revenue is like at 30 or 40 million ARR. And so the commitment that we had with them was like hyper scale, hyper growth. We need this thing that you're talking about implemented. I said, okay. We worked with them for 4 months straight, and we built them a pipeline of $500,000, almost a $500,000 pipeline, जो कि उनका किसी SDR ने कभी build नहीं की होगी. They got 10 deals out of that, $250,000 already converted into annual recurring revenue, and how much did they pay us was like a fraction of that. Say, but even that fraction was so much, but that wasn't based on the hourly number of hours I'm giving in, that's based on the value I provided, right? So they have the $500,000 pipeline to play with now, right? That they didn't have before. Plus they have like 10,000 or so new contacts in their CRM that they can approach now. I have unlocked the TAM for them, right? So just concluding this thing is that distribution is very important. If you're a founder and you're not already thinking about कि मैं इसको बेचूंगा कैसे, you have already lost in the market. तुम्हारा competitor पहले ये सोचेगा कि बेचूंगा कैसे फिर बनाएगा. For example, I'll give you an example. बहुत सारे founders ऐसे हैं, you know what they do? Replit पे जाएंगे, Lovable पे जाएंगे, and they create this vibe code, the MVP, and they start sending the emails. They go to the market to perfect that. यार मैंने ये tool बनाया, देखो इसको check करो. It has hundreds of bugs, it has all the security issues, and you will talk about. But you think what he's doing is he's making the product market fit even before investing into the stuff. What we do here in Pakistan, and like I'm not just complaining about it, I'm just like surfacing the issue, is that we are approaching the problem different way. We are approaching the business in a different way. Go into the market, sell it first, identify the distribution channel first. बना हर कोई लेता है, बेचना सबकी बस की काम नहीं है. और साथ में past 2 years I've been sending hyper-personalized emails. अभी जितने founders हैं जिनको मैं product बेचता हूँ, शायद सबको ऐसी email चली गई होगी कि वो परेशान हो गया होगा कि इसको मेरा date of birth कैसे पता है, इसको मेरी email कहाँ से मिली, इसको मेरा phone number कहाँ से मिला, what have I been talking about. मैंने कल सुबह post की थी कि I raised a certain amount in funding, and this guy is in afternoon he's sending me the hyper-personalized email. इसने कैसे कर लिया? But that's becoming common again as well. So to sell, it's becoming harder and harder. A lot of people are going to learn the same skill that I'm going to talk about, and then that I'm talking about, and they're already sending millions of emails. So get ahead of the curve, get your idea product market fit, and then get into the building phase actually.
And I think
funding phase as well.
Absolutely, and I want to double down on what he just said, right? Oftentimes when the startup founders are building their startup, they think patent and my idea and all of those things are important. जो मैंने product बना लिया वो important. Distribution. Early stage investors are always going to look at the distribution. How good of a distribution you have actually done with your product. Yeah. Doesn't matter what the maturity level is. Doesn't matter अगर आपके पास defensibility भी है अभी कि नहीं है, right? I know these are legit valid questions जो लोग पूछते हैं, but distribution beats everything. And if you have a tool where you can actually outperform human in so many ways, it's a great solution. So any last departing thought that you want to share with the audience as we say, any advice for the startup founders or people who are actually working with the venture building space, what would that be?
Of course. First of all, thank you so much for listening to me. If I was able to add any value, that's honor for me. You have a question? Okay. Muniba, if we can have.
Oh yeah, we will take questions. I'm forgetting about questions. I'm like,
I'm open
am
to
I
the
doing
questions,
enough?
guys. So meanwhile, they give you the mic. I would say that distribution is the most important thing that you want to look at in 2026. There's ton of other tech stack coming up. I'll just take names and quickly, and if you guys want to note down, just go and search them. Right? Claude Code, N8N, N8N, Clay.com, Epify, and Rapid API, of course. Rapid API, right? These are some tools you guys want to learn about this. If you get into the ecosystem, you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah, please.
Okay, Sam, it's lovely to hear multiple things which is quite relate to my experimentation phase. But as you said that that GTM engineer, right? It's a new word for me. So how this entire model, since you have said that there are multiple people, they are working for the entire chain to make it available for the users to, actually work for that. So, like, I'm talking about the very specific and technical people, like engineers, civil engineers, architects, interior designers, they, on a broader perspective, they have their own knowledge. But whatever you are saying, that how user-friendly, how, easy to make for a common or a person who is specialized to very different field.
Yeah, I got your question.
Yeah.
What's your name, by the way? Sobia. Thank you so much for asking an amazing question. I think ये सबके सवाल जहनों में होगा कि यार मैं इसको adopt कैसे करूँ. Interesting चीज़ लग रही है काफ़ी, but adopt कैसे करें, right? So now the era in 2026 we are moving into is कि software engineers, nobody needs software engineers anymore. I'm not against that. What I'm saying is कि fundamentals तो same ही होंगे, but now the tool that I just said, Claude Code या Cursor, by the way, Cursor is another tool you guys should note down. वो खुद कोड करता है आपके लिए और वो उससे भी अच्छा कोड करेगा जो कि आप लेके आओगे बंदे को फुल टाइम उसको समझाओगे अपना विजन, उसके बाद वो काम करेगा. You don't need, we do not need robots anymore, by the way, guys. We have the robots. We need system thinkers जो कि उन robots को काम पे लगाएंगे, बेटा ये करो ये नहीं करो, right? So coming to your question, it's much easier now to learn and adopt those tools than before. Just go, all these tools have their repositories, documentations. API की documentation अलग होती है, पूरा education universities है. Clay का there's a separate section, they call it Clay University. 3 to 4 minute video for each of the features that they have. Just go through that. They have a cohort free of cost. Clay cohorts इसका नाम है. You get into that, you get free resources to learn that as well, and you implement that in real use cases, right? So it's really easy, non-technical. You don't need any coding language. All you need to be a system thinker and a strategic and a logical thinker. If you're an engineer, the titles that you mentioned, all of them are engineers, so I assume that you can grab it.
Yeah, but recently my presentation will be next, but definitely we will going to identify कि क्या problem होती है, because जो creative लोग होते हैं, artists हैं, architects. I'm an architect by profession. And and इसी तरीके के एक मॉडल में आके मैं फंसी एंड मुझे लगा कि नहीं, मुझे तो टेक का बंदा चाहिए. बिकॉज मैं आपसे ये बात इसलिए कह रही हूँ, लिंगो समझ नहीं आती. आप जब इंटीग्रेशन फेज़ में जा रहे होते हैं, आप चाहे कितना डॉक्यूमेंट पढ़ लें, आपको वो ग्रीक लगता है. एंड वो प्रॉब्लम्स हमें आती हैं, चाहे वो भी अंग्रेज़ी में लिखा हुआ है लेकिन नहीं आता समझ. एंड डेफिनेटली यू नीड सपोर्ट पीपल. तभी कहते हैं AI इज़ अ गेम चेंजर, बट you need your specific technical intelligence in order to use AI. I am a generative AI trainer for architects and interior designer. So you don't have a architectural intelligence, then you can't be able to run AI.
That's right. Yeah.
So मैं उस chain के हिसाब से कभी कभार सोचती हूँ कि मुझे पूरा सिस्टम पता है कि मुझे किस तरीके से ब्लॉक बाय ब्लॉक उसको इंटीग्रेट करना है, बट या व्हेन दिस कम टू इंटीग्रेशन आई एक्चुअली लुक फॉरवर्ड कहाँ है टेक का बंदा, ये क्या बोल रहा है, N8N हो गया, आपने जो जो नाम बताए. सो मैं अपनी जर्नी थोड़ी सी बता रही हूँ कि वहाँ जाके जो स्पेशलाइज टेक्निकल लोगों की शायद आपको ज़रूरत पड़ती है, या हम इतने ज़्यादा वो ना नेविगेट नहीं हो पाते.
Yeah, I'll add into this and then we continue. Just a concluding remark, Sobia, is that you're a founder, right? Just say yes in mic so everybody hears.
जी.
You're a founder, right? A founder never does every job by themselves. Yes, you need to know क्या हो रहा है, तुम आपका core product क्या है, कैसे हो रहा है. If you're not delegating work, then you're losing. You're losing on
That's
the speed.
what I did.
You're losing on the speed. So ultimate solution you need to do is hire me to get that
Yes.
thing done for you instead of you doing by yourself. Because that's that's how you're going to.
That's what I think I wanted you to share with the people, that yes, जो वो एक over AI hype है, which is good because खुद भी यही ट्रेन करती हूँ, लेकिन sometimes ये over AI hype है, आप lost in translation हो जाता है एक आम बंदा, जिसमें उसको ये पता होना चाहिए कि मेरे ये रोल 360 सकता हूँ, but I need people brains to get the job done.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
Perfect.
saying.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, intelligent question, Sarmad. It was great. I think as we conclude this conversation, there is like a big picture, and then there is here and now. A little piece of advice given to me very long time ago. When it comes to learning new jargons and technical terms, aim for 1 to 2 new terms every day, which takes less than 5 minutes as a founder. And if you can calendar that 5-minute block to just do that, you will be surprised the actual compounding it will happen in 6 months time, that you will feel like that you have already mastered it. In the meantime, you do go for an expert, someone who actually has figured it out, and just sort of download that. So wonderful conversation. Thank you for sharing the value, and thank you for being with us.